When I came to this residency to Bucharest, of course there was like this big theme of utopias, and I feel like this theme is somehow close to what I'm looking for right now, but for me it's really important to understand that I'm not looking for a certain system or something very solid that I or we as a society or as a group or as a community can establish. But what I'm looking for more is something that is very fluid, coming from a practice. And when I'm thinking about a practice, I'm always thinking about how practice change my body, also my worldview, and through this change, how this practice also changes. So it's this constant feedback loop, which is so appealing for me. And through this, I understand that utopias are to be practiced. They are not to be established. And I think that for me, the biggest vision, let's say, it's the practice of queer utopias, queer spaces of practicing of queer, temporal, autonomic spaces of utopias that are open to fluidity, to pleasure, to building intimacy, to encounter with human, with more than human, with earth. What is appealing for me is that it requires this constant deep listening to what is appearing. And for me, deep listening is very much connected to attunement. And when I think about the attunement, I think also of magic. That is, for me, the aspect that is vivid in my artwork, but also in my life. And I understand magic not in the capitalistic, very consumer way and approach, to something that you can take and have it and just put the crystal on your table and that's it. It's also about practicing attunement and also learning and listening to languages that are more than human, that are languages of objects that are surrounding us, objects and beings and hyper objects such as pollution and crises that are all over us all the time. So it's also, for me, practicing and thinking about magic is also very much about political aspect of it, how one can feel power within themselves to change the status quo, to fight the patriarchy, colonialism, racism, sexism. Yeah, so this is like a practice of like really attunement to your own power from earth, not in order to satisfy myself, but more in order to create stronger communities, communities that are based on care, intimacy, and on this mutual, let's say, belief that we change all the time and it's good. And it's very beautiful to witness how we change and evolve, and we don't have to be the same. It's actually like the most healthy, let's say, environments are those that are the most diverse. So for me, what really appeals me in magical, queer thinking. I think in choreography is the lens that you can see through. And for me, queerness is also the lens that you can see through. But there are like specific, I would say, assets or things that for me this pair fits so well. And for me it's very much about seeking for non-normative relationships, also relationships that are intimate, but in a way that is beyond what patriarchy thinks about intimacy. So there is a lot of fun, there is a lot of playfulness, there is a lot of being weird and maybe stupid and bizarre, but staying with it, with your people, is very liberating because you realize that there are so many things that are torn away from us because we became these adults, let's say, put it in this patriarchal, heterosexist society, and we can do this, and we cannot do that. And for me, choreography and queerness, it's just a way for looking for strategies for living, for diverse kind of kinship, also rethinking what does it mean, ancestrality, and a lot about pleasure and love. Yeah, a lot about love.